Welcome to the Adnavserinos podcast, where classical gourmands everywhere can finally get their fill. Join us for a delectable discussion of Greco-Roman civilization stretching from the Minoans and Mycenaeans through the Renaissance and right down to the present. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here are your hosts, Dr. David Noe and Dr. Jeff Winkle.
Welcome, listeners, to episode 187 of the Adnavserinos podcast. My name is Dr. Jeff Winkle. I'm down here in the vomitorium. I'm at the Omphalos. Vomitorium Central.
Okay.
Right? And
Yeah.
I'm here on a warm, sunny July afternoon.
That's correct.
And I'm talking with my good friend and excellent co-host, Dr. David Noe. How you feeling, Dave?
I'm doing great, thanks. How do you feel about these two intercalated months, July and August?
Yeah.
Julius Caesar, right? They used to have nice ordinal names, and then
Right.
he said, no, it was Augustus, right?
Right.
Name one after my pa and one after myself, July and August?
Yeah,
How do you feel about
Let's
that?
kind of cram them in. What I don't like is how, when you get to September, the numbers are off.
It's off.
It's off,
This
right.
is not the 7th month,
Right.
September. It's the 9th.
Right,
What's
yeah.
your dad's first name again?
It's Bernard.
Bernard.
Yes.
So this would be Bernardi, and the next one would be Jeffy, would be the names of the months.
Can you imagine that?
It's
What's
awful.
the date? It's the 13th of Jeffy? Nobody
correct.
wants that.
Confuses everybody.
It is,
And
yeah.
What is the deal with that?
Right, exactly.
No, I'm doing well. We
You
have
do- yeah.
some really excellent summery weather.
Yep.
Enjoying these days. And next week begins the colloquium Aestium Latinum. Right?
Excellent, right.
Bunch of folks coming into town to study some Latin. We're going to cover, Virgil's Aeneid, Book 6.
Nice.
A little bit
My
of
favorite.
Augustine.
Yeah.
You like that one?
Yes.
That's right. We should do some podcast episodes on that.
On the Aeneid?
Yeah.
What, like 40 more? Right.
Then we're going to cover Anselm's Proslogion.
Okay.
On Wednesday, we're going to do a little bit of Erasmus's Adages.
Yeah.
And finish off with Renaissance Frenchman Isaac Casaubon.
That's great. Now, it may have, I don't want to get off on too
Sure.
much of a track, but
No.
so when you put something like this together,
Right.
like how do you settle on those particular texts?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, it's chronological.
Okay.
So the very first year, I think it was Cicero, then something from Lactantius.
Mm-hmm.
So you have one classical author, late antique, then something from the Middle Ages, like Bonaventure, Bernard, Aquinas did
Yep.
one year.
Yep.
Then something from typically Erasmus, because he's kind of a pinnacle Renaissance.
Yeah.
And then what you would call post-Reformation,
Mm-hmm.
so late 16th into the 17th century.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of choose based on what I'm interested in.
Sure, right.
So one of the great things about being able to teach in this way is that I get to set the curriculum, right?
Absolutely.
Now, it's not in a kind of a haughty way, I don't think. It's just, hey, these are the things I want to read. If you don't want to read those things, no problem.
Right.
But if you do, this is what we're doing.
Come on in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody, but it keeps me properly stimulated,
Definitely.
rather than just teaching the same things
Yeah.
over and over.
That sounds great. So you guys
Yeah.
are going to be doing lots of kind of reading and
That's
speaking.
correct.
And,
Some rusticating.
You're going to be doing some
We're
rusticating.
going to rusticate.
Fantastic.
I'd like to see someone stop us, actually.
Well, does that
We're going to rusticate like an old boat.
Is there going to be grilling? Is it going to be grilling?
I'll ask some tough questions of people. There's no doubt. We'll be outside.
Yeah.
We'll be Latin feats of strength. You name it. We're going to have a great time.
Fantastic. That sounds
people
great.
coming from all over the world, actually.
Yeah, I think you have somebody coming in from Amsterdam.
From Amsterdam.
Just in a couple of hours.
Yeah, and someone coming from Switzerland.
Oh,
So
man.
It's very exciting.
Very cool. Well, I look forward to hearing about that.
Yeah.
You've got to give the report on the show.
For
of course.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So today we're covering what's the best textbook for learning ancient Greek,
Part 3.
Part 3.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
before we get into it, we have a little bit of housekeeping.
we do.
The first is an autocorrigendum.
What makes it auto? I don't understand.
Well, I happen to spot our error.
Yes?
It wasn't sent to us by some disgruntled, bitter listener who'd been nursing a grudge or a grievance all week
Yeah,
and wanted to straighten us out.
you know who you are.
Exactly. What was that guy's name in Australia?
Oh, man.
It's living rent-free in my head.
Exactly. I forget his name.
I think it was Tom.
Was it
once
Tom?
again.
Yeah. But this one, you noticed yourself.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is when we were looking at the Hackett website, and
Yeah.
there was this text Kudrun, and I said, well, this must be something like Bhagavad Gita or something. This seems Hindu. Not
No,
at all.
not at all.
So I researched it. And Jeff, why don't you take us down this track?
Yeah, so you pulled this off the web, and so it says
correct.
Gudrun, sometimes known as the Gudrunlied or Gudrun, is an anonymous Middle-High German heroic epic. The poem was likely composed in either Australia or Bavaria around
Austria,
1250. Sorry, yes, Austria. or Bavaria around 1250. Okay, so this is about as far from the Bhagavad Gita as
it's
you
a
can
long
get.
way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is a testament to like how much you care about the precision of details.
Well,
I can't imagine anybody out there
really
heard us.
Someone did.
You think so?
Someone, Anthony Minima.
Right. Someone is stewing about this.
Jacobs, off in Scotland. Someone who's one of our more erudite listeners listened and said, Kudrun, that's High German. That has nothing to do with the Indian subcontinent.
I see.
Noe is spewing nonsense once again, and Winkle didn't catch him.
I think I would maybe find somewhere in the middle. Maybe Yop noticed it and he thought, that's okay. I forgive those
guys.
He'd
let it go?
He'd let it go. Come on.
You can't let it go. You just can't.
All right. So Kudrun now properly defined.
We've got that settled.
Okay.
That's our autocorrigendum.
Yes.
And another little point here that I'd like to bring up before we get into the episode, something I came across in my reading. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting.
Yeah. What do you got there? You're reading a book called Resistance.
The book is called Resistance. Mm-hmm. Right. It's the Underground War Against Hitler, 1939 to 1945. Mm-hmm. So this is not going to be a Helluari Libris once again, gorging on books. But I've been deep in this book for the summer, and it's written by a Polish author, Halik Kochanski. Mm-hmm. She has done an excellent job. And as I wandered close to the end, this thing is massive, Jeff.
I'm looking at the book. It's a tome that you are.
Well, I read a review of the book in the Wall Street Journal about a year ago, which just sung its praises to the heavens.
Yeah.
So I thought I got to get this book and read it. So now I'm on page 743.
Okay. And you still got a little chunk to go.
I got a ways to go.
Yeah.
That's right. And the title of the chapter is The German Retreat from the Balkans. Mm-hmm. Now, when you and I have visited Greece, you've been there recently, remember when you go up on the Acropolis, the guides love to tell that story.
About the flag, right?
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. So the Nazis raised a flag over the Acropolis.
Right, because that's what they would do.
Right. And I think there was a heroic young man who climbed up there, scaled it
by night,
and tore the flag down.
That's right, and raised the Greek flag.
Right, exactly.
The cross of St. George.
Every Greek knows. I'm sad that I can't remember, but they know his name.
I don't remember his name either.
Right.
It's a moment of great heroism.
Yes.
So I got to this part of the book, and I thought Jeff would love this.
Okay.
And if our audience hates it, too bad. It says Kochanski, on 12 October, this is 1944, 12 October, the last German units left Athens. True to their word, they had not destroyed any of the antiquities, or interfered with the Marathon Dam, and had left the harbor of Piraeus undamaged. So I guess the Marathon Dam at the time is what provided the majority of the fresh water to the city of Athens.
Okay.
So the Germans had this, scorched earth policy. When they withdrew, they wrecked everything.
Right.
Kochanski continues, the harbor had not been booby-trapped in any way, and there was not even any graffiti, which might have been expected. That's different than today, isn't it?
Definitely, right. Try to find a spot that is ungraffitied.
That's
right?
correct.
Yeah.
Later that morning, the first British troops entered Athens to an ecstatic welcome. The Greek government was due to enter Athens on Tuesday, 17 October, but as Rex Leeper, the British ambassador to the Greek government in exile, recalled, quote, consternation reigned. It was on a Tuesday that Constantinople fell in 1453 to the final Turkish assault, and it had become a firmly held and widely respected tradition that nothing of any importance should be initiated on a Tuesday.
That is fascinating.
Did you know that?
No clue. I've never heard that.
I didn't know that Constantinople fell on a Tuesday in 1453 to the Turkish assault, but I have to confess I have always felt a little bit uncomfortable about Tuesday.
Really?
Yes.
What is it about Tuesdays?
I don't know. It's just, Wednesday has a clear identity. It's the middle of the week.
Right. Yes.
And you're halfway there in terms of work. Thursday has kind of Wednesday's afterglow, you might say. And Friday...
Yes,
is the beginning of a little bit of relaxation.
Exactly,
it's a terminus.
Right. Do you remember the scene from Seinfeld where Kramer and Newman are arguing exactly about this? Where
No.
Kramer says something about what day is it, and somebody tells us, it feels like a Thursday, and Newman says Thursdays don't have a feel.
Oh, there you go.
Friday has a feel. Sunday has a
That's
feel.
right.
And I think Newman's right.
He's right.
He's right.
But Tuesday, apparently to the Greeks, you don't initiate anything of importance on a Tuesday.
Does that just become an excuse for just not doing anything?
I don't know. What are you saying about the Greek
I'm
people?
not saying anything.
Then Kochanski finishes off.
Okay.
The small British fleet carrying the Greek government and the British representatives therefore dallied in Piraeus harbor for a day.
Just kind of hanging out.
That's right.
By the beach.
The Germans leave.
Yes.
The British are ready to come into Athens and try to decide, do we restore the nationalists or the partisan communists?
Right.
And what about King George?
Yes, that's right.
It was chaos. Well, let's just stay in the Piraeus harbor for a day doing nothing.
Yes.
Because nothing good starts on a Tuesday.
That's so interesting.
Isn't that fascinating?
So after that long Nazi occupation, even the
That's
Greeks
right.
said, we got to wait a day.
Yeah, because it's not happening on Tuesday.
That is fascinating.
Right.
It's really, really interesting.
So there you have it. Halik Kochanski, Resistance. Highly recommended book.
So it talks about the various pockets of resistance
All over Europe.
All over Europe.
So just resistance to Hitler,
Hitler.
Not Japanese
Gotcha.
resistance.
Gotcha.
The wealth of detail, I mean, it is incredible.
Yeah.
I can see some people saying, this is too much detail. But you ever read a Tom Clancy novel?
I think I read one.
Yeah, I went through a stage where I think I read 3 or 4.
Yeah, it wasn't my cup of tea. It was kind of all plot, right?
Oh, that was not my impression.
Really?
It was all technical detail.
Well, I mean that too, but I mean there was. I guess when I say all plot, I mean there was
no style.
Well, no style, and all the
Right.
characters were kind of paper thin.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment.
Yeah,
but I think it was the technical detail that I eventually got tired of. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, he could describe the interior of a tank and spend
That's true.
18 pages on it. And I was sure it was accurate, but I don't need to know that much.
Right. That reminds me of, did you ever read any of the Patrick O'Brien, like the Master and Commander?
They've been recommended to me many times.
The same thing. Like if you want to know
Really?
every detail about the rigging of a particular
Yeah.
ship from the 17th century, well then that's your guy.
But I would say, to go back to the previous episode,
Yeah.
it's not dissimilar to Moby Dick. When he spends, 70 pages explaining the interior of the sperm whale's head.
Right.
Right? Or in Les Mis, where Victor Hugo talks about the history of the Paris sewer.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. I mean, I could.
I'm interested in the Parisian sewer as much as anybody.
but
But
I mean, those guys I can forgive a little bit more. I mean, there is a kind of an overarching 19th century style.
Correct.
Right?
And they are stylistic geniuses.
Yes.
So I can tolerate it.
Yeah.
But I know it's not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah. Just one more thing about
Please.
that. It reminded me that the Nazis not detating the Parthenon.
Right.
It reminds me of
what Hawthorne wanted to do. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
Let's
He
destroy the
he
whole
would
thing.
grind it down all the
pulp.
Elgin marbles, right?
He was a little early. The Nazis were going to do it for him.
Right.
Anyway, I interrupted.
But them leaving alone reminds me of also the famous details when the Nazis retreated from Italy, from Florence. They left the Ponte Vecchio.
Yes.
The one undetonated bridge.
But they blew up lots of other things.
Oh, they blew up lots of things. Right?
And they did in the Balkans too. They blew up a Venetian bridge.
Yeah.
It's just reckless carnage.
Right.
So-
And there's questions too, like the decisions that I think it was the Americans had to make with Monte Cassino.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And they said,
The
do we try
Gustav
to
line.
preserve it or do we destroy it? And the choice was to destroy it.
Yeah, because it was thought to be a Nazi holdout.
I think in terms of what was trying to be accomplished, it was
Yeah.
the right. It's heartbreaking,
Of course.
in the abstract. But when
Sure.
when you're talking about human lives, and
When you come down to it, the rights of the living, I would say they outweigh the rights of the dead.
indeed.
This is why literature is so great, still digressing. Because, if you have literature, now the manuscripts were smuggled out of Monte Cassino before the Allies bombed
That's right.
Monte Cassino, but the monastery. And thankfully there were full-scale blueprints, right? Or, I mean, not full-scale, but...
Massive.
Yeah, they were. What's the word I'm looking for? Extensive,
detailed, yes.
So it could be rebuilt as a perfect replica.
Right.
But literature doesn't take up any space.
Indeed. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
the living and the dead don't have to compete for geography
Right.
if you have literature.
Right. Yeah.
Speaking of literature,
Yes.
it's time to go on to our review of 2 Greek textbooks. We're going to add a third.
Okay.
So we're going to look at Donald Mastronarde's Greek introductory textbook. We're
Yep.
going to look at Athenaze.
Yes.
And then we're going to talk about Moss. And we might throw in a couple other things from Anne Mahoney and First Thousand Greek Words.
Yes, indeed. All right, Dave. So I have the
Yes?
Mastronarde text open here
Okay.
on my laptop. And first of all, I have to admit I have never taught
Okay.
or worked with this text before.
I haven't taught from it either,
Right.
as it turns out.
But I'm looking at the table of context.
Right.
I'm looking at this as to the lens of a professor,
Mm-hmm.
and it already looks like a nightmare to me.
Really?
So we got it's got 42 units.
Right.
Right. I think we talked in previous episode about how one of the things that I liked is when it seems that the textbook authors have said, okay, we've got to match this to kind of
Right.
the weeks of a semester.
14 to 16
Yes.
weeks in the fall.
Yes, exactly.
14 to 16 in the spring.
Right, and I like that because that's and here Mastronarde doesn't seem to have taken that into account.
Disregarded
So
it.
this is already kind of more work than I want to do and say, okay, how am I going to divide these 42 units up into a couple of semesters?
Okay.
Right.
So we're looking at the second edition, University of California Press, 2013. And you're looking at the TOC, right?
I am
the
looking
table
at
of contents,
yes.
title page, copyright, etc. How to use this book. Did you find any useful information in that which might allay some of your fears about the potentially poor organization?
No, I mean, I think on the whole, in kind of looking over Mastronarde's text, I think it's a very good one.
Okay.
That was just the first thing that jumped out at me. I think I spent some time reading some other user reviews of the text,
Okay.
and by and large, people seem to really like this text. The one kind of consistent criticism that tends to pop up that says that it's very dense.
Yes.
Yep.
I have heard people taking a kind of pride in it. That if you really want to get down into the nit and the grit of Greek,
This is the one?
yeah, you can't do something like from Alpha to Omega, the Angroten text.
Yeah.
And then I would say, wonderful, clear explanations, but then take it up a step to Hansen and Quinn,
Yeah.
a little bit higher level of grammatical instruction. Then they say you really have to dig down into Mastronarde. So I'm looking at the how to use this book, and I want to quote a little bit of what he says about memorization, because this is page 12, Roman numeral 12.
Yep.
He says, it cannot be too strongly emphasized that reading real Greek will be more enjoyable and easier if one masters enough important vocabulary and the most common inflectional patterns in the elementary course. People differ in the ease with which they memorize and in the manner in which they do so most effectively. Some people have excellent visual memory and need only to look at paradigms and vocabulary repeatedly and carefully. Others do better by repeatedly pronouncing and hearing the items to be memorized. Others may find that writing out inflections and words helps memorization. It is usually best, he says, to use several techniques, and it is always to be recommended that students pronounce words aloud while studying and recite important inflectional patterns.
Yeah. No, I like that. I mean, that's kind of taking into account, very many different approaches.
I can find a bone here to pick.
Please. Okay.
Are you surprised?
No, not at all, but please pick away.
No bone is too small or too concealed that I'm not able to pick it.
Yeah.
And that is, I agree, right, that reading real Greek will be more enjoyable and easier if one masters important vocabulary and inflectional patterns in the elementary course. But the question that invites is, how can you do that? And I would suggest that his taxonomy of different kinds of learning has mostly been debunked.
Is that right?
Yeah, there's no such thing as visual memory. There's no such thing as an auditory learner. There's a very popular YouTube channel called Veritasium. Have you ever seen that?
I have not.
5-6 million subscribers, Veritasium. And this guy does his research, and he debunks these common myths about the human intellect.
Yeah.
And one of the most successful and helpful of his videos is, you are not an auditory learner. You are not a visual learner. The idea is bunk. In other words, everyone learns in approximately the same way.
Wow. Okay.
So because I accept that thesis, controversial as it is, I think that what Mastronarde has given here isn't especially helpful. It would be better if he would approach it from the notion of, how does one memorize that vocabulary? And I think one does it by actually reading a text. So it's not memorize the vocab in advance, then apply it to the reading, but have anchors by which you acquire the vocabulary as you're going through interesting reading.
I see. Okay.
Now, to be honest, I'm setting us up a little bit for Moss, who's coming at the end of this episode.
Right.
Because that's one of the things he does. He says you shouldn't have to just flip through a glossary all the time. To learn Greek, you should read stories where the memorableness of the story helps you acquire the vocab.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
All right.
Very interesting. I'll have to check this out, that Veritasium.
Yeah, Veritasium.
Yeah.
I think you'd like it.
Yeah.
Then we have the long table of abbreviations, pretty standard in the introduction. Let's skip ahead to, I don't know, what do you think? Which unit would be maybe Unit 10?
Yeah, let's jump down to
present
to
of
10,
εἰμί.
just to kind of give a taste. There's
Some uses of the genitive and dative.
So again, to the listener, there's just in the interest of time. These are massive texts. We can only kind of give
That's right.
a bit of a slimmer and a sliver and kind of do a microscope look at it at parts. Yep.
Right. So here we are in Unit 10, the present of εἰμί, which we learn as εἰμί sum, right, the verb to be. Uses of the genitive and dative. He says, quote, the verb to be. One of the most commonly used words in the language, the Greek verb to be, shows irregularities of conjugation in all dialects. The Attic forms of the present active indicative are εἰμί esti, esmeneste esi. Notice he also gives the dual. How do you feel about that, Jeff?
I'm not crazy about that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it's fine, but I remember in learning Greek myself and working from different textbooks, the dual is often referred to in a footnote.
Right.
Saying it's so here it is.
Right.
But it's so rare that
easy to spot.
Yeah, but it's not worth your time right now as an elementary Greek learner to cram your head with yet another thing.
I agree with that.
A small
completely.
detail, but
relegate it to an appendix.
Exactly.
I would say the same goes for something like the vocative of most nouns.
Yeah.
With the exception of the second declension, like adelphos becomes adelphe. With the exception of the second declension masculine, the vocative is identical to the nominative.
Exactly.
Almost everywhere.
Right. So don't list it with every paradigm.
So there has to be a kind of a triage, right?
Yeah.
When I was a younger man and more intent on a kind of, I don't know, memorization mastery, I would never have accepted that advice. I would have just said, you, student, brute force it in.
Yeah.
Because it's important.
Yes.
Well, only half of that is right. It is important. But we have to economize our time and attention.
Indeed.
Which means triage, right?
Right.
Take what's, the grammatical form that's bleeding the most, take that into ER the first.
Yeah.
If you've only got, I don't know, the grammatical equivalent of a hangnail, well, then you just sit on the sidelines for a while.
Yeah.
You like the metaphor?
I like it a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I remember in teaching students, and this applied both to very good students and students who are lazier. The common complaint was just being overwhelmed by the sheer mass of things to deal with.
Who can do that? Right. Yeah. So here's a potential analog. When kids are learning to speak their native tongue, in our case English, they make a lot of mistakes, right? I would say the diligent parent or teacher doesn't correct 100% of those mistakes.
Yeah.
Something like 75, 80. I don't know what the number is. But if the child is constantly being corrected, if there's too much feedback, it's too much.
It is, right.
It's overwhelming.
Exactly. And that just leads to the child kind of shutting down.
That's correct.
Right? Yeah.
Hating the subject.
Right.
Thinking that the instructor is, just kind of indulging in a kind of grammar Nazi sort of behavior.
Right. Exactly. And so you don't speak up. You don't try things out of fear. Right. So, Dave, how does the rest of this chapter look to you?
Sure. Well, I think it's incredibly thorough. So he lists all of these different uses of esti or εἰμί. The emphatic esti. He explains the present imperative, which is isti in the singular and esta in the plural. He talks about the infinitive. Then he goes on to uses of the genitive. Genitive of possession, the predicate use, the partitive genitive, all with very excellent examples. For example, he distinguishes between the subjective genitive and the objective genitive, something which often trips up students.
Yep.
He's got excellent examples. For example, he tu adiku epiorkia, which is the perjury of the unjust man, right? The perjury of the unjust man. So there's a subjective genitive. Then we get down to uses of the dative, also quite exhaustive. This is all from the same unit.
Yeah.
Then he has 4 little lists here. What to study and what to do. 4 little items. Learn the present of εἰμί. Study the uses of the genitive and dative. Learn the vocabulary of this unit and do the exercises of this unit.
Right.
So as we look at the vocabulary, what do you think of the idiomacy of the definitions that he's given?
Let's see here. So he has balo,
right,
to throw or strike.
Then has a
but as ballistics, right?
Yeah, English derivative.
The derivatives, right? Those have heurisko, find or discover, and then the heuristic, eureka.
That's right. I don't think that heuristic there means much to most people.
Right. That's also kind of looking through Mastronarde too. As I saw this complaint too in user reviews, is that thought that he's not writing it doesn't seem to be writing for kind of a common lay audience.
Yeah. Expecting them to know such words as heuristic.
Right.
Or down in the vocabulary list, Athenaeos, Athenaia, Athenaion, Athenian, right? Pretty easy. Aitios, Aitia, Aition. Then he gives the derivative, which is
Etiology.
Etiology or etiology.
Etiology, right.
That's tough.
It's tough. And I think for a college freshman, not very useful.
It's not going to land.
Right.
Need a really good teacher. So it seems to me this book is either for the advanced self-learner, right? If you want to learn it on your own, you're really patient, you have the time, you've got the discipline.
Yeah.
You could gain a massive amount of Greek knowledge from this textbook.
It's interesting kind of how that in the vocabulary it's very dense and very specific. But that list of what to study and do is very loose.
That's right.
Right, and so study the uses of the genitive and dative. Great.
Yeah. Learn the material.
Right, and so but I guess it leaves room for the professor. The professor will take that and say, "Well, okay, I'm going to test you on this,"
right.
or whatever. And so I think that this is where we're seeing kind of that the variation of the approach or what it takes to be different learning styles. Yeah.
Well, let's look at a couple of the exercises before we say goodbye to Mastronarde. From this same unit, exercise Roman numeral 1, translate the following short sentences. Think carefully about the accentuation and review the rules if necessary. Okay. Athanatoiesi, they are immortal. Number 2, uk agathoieste, you all were not worthy. Arakonesti, etc. So what do we have? We've got 12 sentences here, discrete, short Greek sentences, testing you on the principles.
Yes. Yep. All of them using various forms of eİmī.
That's right.
Yep.
And of course, because Mastronarde is an excellent scholar, and this is a university textbook, it's gone through several proofreadings, you can be confident that the errors are either extremely rare or non-existent.
Yes.
And sometimes errors can dog introductory textbooks.
Yeah.
This is complicated material.
Yeah.
What about the second set of exercises? Here we're going from English into Greek.
Yeah.
Using the appropriate form of εἰμί. Number 1, it is worthy. Number 2, the Athenians are responsible, so on and so forth. What about section 3 of the exercises, Jeff?
Well, I would say just a comment on section 2. If you look at, so here we're taking English sentences and putting them into Greek. They're very similar to the sentences from exercise 1.
That's correct.
Right. So I think I like that how you're kind of, if you do exercise 1 well, that's gonna undergird and help you do section 2.
And that's an excellent point, because sometimes students and I actually encourage this, they look back at the Greek and they try to build their own Greek sentences from English based on the previous examples.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that. That's how composition works.
Right.
Section 3?
Section 3 gives us a number of longer sentences in Greek to translate. It says, translate the following sentences and then name the case of the underlined word and give the reason for this case. So here we're exercising those various uses of the dative and the genitive that we just read about, right?
So the example he gives is to sapho biblia estin. The wise man has books, right? So here we have the dative of possession, the to sapho. Then we have a neuter plural, biblia, with a singular verb, estin.
Yes.
Neuter plurals taking singulars. But as I look down the list, some of these get pretty sophisticated.
Yeah.
Number 7, for example, hoi anasioi lithus mikrus ektu potamu lambanusin, hois tahiaron balusin. Something like the unholy individuals, what do? They take tiny stones from the river, by which they use to throw against the
shrine.
The shrine.
Yeah.
So what about the potential artificiality? You ever picked up a tiny stone from the river and chucked it at a shrine?
Threw it at a church as I was walking by? No, I haven't.
Okay.
But I mean, I kind of enjoy these because I think they come off as kind of unintentionally funny.
Yeah, they do.
Because you're handcuffed by the vocabulary that you've given the students, right?
Yeah, you have really two options. Either give them a huge list of somewhat rare vocabulary, or reduce the sentences to something that borders on idiocy, right? Because there isn't much vocabulary range.
Right. I have to say, I do like the explain the case of the underlined word, and leave it at that. It reminds me of in graduate school, I did a Homer seminar.
Okay.
And we read the Iliad.
You were a student or the instructor?
I was a student.
Okay.
And the exercise that he said, translate 100 lines, but we had to explain the grammar of every single word.
Yeah.
And it was exhausting.
Of course.
Right? It just could beat you into the ground. I think that was kind of what the professor was after.
I see.
But compared to this, where we say, okay, translate, get the flow of it.
Yeah.
And then zero in on something that's going to reinforce what we just learned about.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're not going to like Moss then.
Oh, really?
Well, because in Moss, I make them parse every noun, pronoun, adjective. And I make them parse every verb.
Yeah.
Person, number, tense, mood, voice. But it's after they've already read the story. They've had the story explained. But it's a way to supplement a reading approach with some actual, fortified grammar, you might say.
Right. Okay.
Well, we can see that when we get to it. Then section 4, still Mastronarde, render into Greek. There are 9 sentences.
Yes.
To take from English into Greek, some of them pretty sophisticated, like number 9, in the eyes of the majority, pleasure is not the measure of virtue.
Yeah.
And that's a significant task.
That's tough. What are we, 10 units in?
That's right.
Right?
Then to go to the very end of the book, it has a number of appendices. A table of contractions, Appendix A, Appendix B, principal parts, Appendix C, paradigms, has both a Greek to English glossary, an English to Greek glossary, and then, of course, it has an exhaustive index.
Yeah.
So what's your kind of final word on Mastronarde? We've only just, I guess, skimmed the surface.
Right.
But what do you think, Jeff, in terms of how it compares to the other books we've looked at?
I would say if I was looking at this text for an intro Greek class for 2 semesters, there's way more here than you could possibly do.
Okay.
Maybe that's the point. You would have to definitely kind of pick and choose how you went through this as an instructor. But I would say if I had 2 years with students,
Yeah.
which of course most colleges do this kind of stuff, just you don't have that
Right.
that luxury. That would be great.
Okay.
And going through this text very, very slowly, I think would be excellent. I don't think that
Perhaps ideal.
ideal, right? So one of the criticisms I read from users was I picked up this text to teach myself Greek. And he says by about 5 chapters I was out.
Yeah.
And so I think it's also clearly designed for in class, instruction, vocal response to between teacher and student.
An expert teacher, probably.
Exactly.
Do you want to read the 2-star review? Where did you find this? By the way?
This is a mix of stuff I found from Goodreads and also just from Amazon. I think this one was from Amazon.
Okay.
And
read the 2-star one.
The 2-star
first,
review
if you
says,
could.
"It is impossible to learn ancient Greek by using this book on its own. It is technical, full of grammar, jargon that is senseless and devoid of any value." So you can tell us how you really feel.
Yeah.
Right? It is addressed to people, or rather university teachers, obsessed with grammar. A typical sentence from the book is enough to elucidate my point. From page 294. When the subject of the infinitive is the same as a person or thing mentioned in the genitive or dative in close proximity to the infinitive, the subject of the infinitive is usually unexpressed, and predicate nouns or adjectives may either appear in the accusative or be attracted into the genitive or dative.
I'm sometimes attracted into the genitive or dative, I'll be honest.
Yeah, you can't help yourself.
Yeah, who can't, right?
I mean, that is a beast of a sentence.
Yeah, and then the guy says, "What?" 1 question mark, 1 exclamation point.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you got this the first time you read it. The whole book is written in this obscure style, like a book on trigonometry. It is unreadable. No Greek ever learned ancient Greek grammar like that, simply because grammar is not an abstract set of rules. Well, there he's wrong. Grammar is an abstract set of rules.
Right.
But language is not an abstract set of rules, right? The use of it.
Right.
So I get his point.
Yeah.
He's a little bit off. Did you also harvest a 5-star review?
Yeah. So I won't read the whole thing here, but this person really loved the book. So if you've just started learning Greek and you think there is an easy way to master it, you should better stop fantasizing. I like that. So listen, there's no shortcuts. This book will never try to convince you that there is such a way. It would not be honest. That is why you will find lots of grammar here. You will need it. You will appreciate later how clearly the material is presented, especially the notorious irregular verbs. Even after completing this book, you will use it as a reference tool. And this is one of the reasons why the book is such a good buy. That's a good point.
It's an excellent reference.
A great book to have on your shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A better one you should have on your shelf, I would say, is Smythe's Greek Grammar.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right. That's the be-all.
And perhaps one day we do an episode on different Greek grammars. You got, because I've kind of been majoring in them recently with my Moss work. So you got Smythe, the old-fashioned Goodwin one. Mm-hmm. Did you know that our former colleague and longtime friend and frequent podcast guest, Ken Bratt, has a little bit of a grudge against Smythe.
He does?
Yes.
What's the problem there?
Well, this is when we were still both employed there, and I was singing the praises of Smythe, as is my wont, and he said, "Oh yes, the grammar, the gospel according to Smythe."
He said,
he did.
Dripping with bitterness.
That's correct. And I said, "Well, Ken, what would you suggest?" And he said, "Well, in my day, we used Goodwin." Goodwin, the Greek syntax and the forms of Greek grammar and such.
Yeah.
Goodwin's an excellent text, but Smythe replaced him. Then you got Hadley and Allen. You've got Waddell. There's P.K. Bootman.
Bootman? I've not heard of Bootman.
Yeah, I can't pronounce it the other way. But
yeah.
In German, and then translated into English.
Okay.
So many excellent Greek grammars from the 19th century.
Yeah.
Just a real plethora of them.
Indeed. Well, Dave, speaking
Yes?
of translating things from German into English,
Really?
it's time for the ads.
Okay, let's do it.
This episode of Adnavserinos is brought to you by the wonderful folks at Hackett Publishing.
Yeah.
I love these guys.
I do too.
They, if you are a regular listener, you know that they have been with us since the very beginning.
Going on 5 years,
Going on
Winkle.
5 years, and they took a chance on a couple of chuckleheads like
That's right.
ourselves.
A flyer, like they say.
Yep, and they stuck with us, and we love them because they do what we're trying to do. They are keeping the flame alive. Hackett Publishing, they've got their offices in Indianapolis, Indiana, Cambridge, Massachusetts. They've been around for 54, going on 55 years now.
That's right.
And this company has it all. If you want to build your personal library, you need to be going to Hackett. They've got excellent translations, erudite commentaries, wonderful artwork, and all wrapped in a very affordable package.
That's right. If you're interested in middle-high German heroic epic,
yeah,
you can check out the poem Kudrun.
Excellent.
They've got it for you. You want to... Jeff's laughing.
Sorry.
at me.
No, it's very true. Yes,
Okay.
go do it.
You want to check out Descartes, modern philosophy, Kant. They've got a huge Aquinas selection, a really lovely series on Aristotle just coming out. I think I'm going to have to buy those books. If you're listening, Hackett, you could also just kind of send them along to your favorite podcast.
You could. Exactly.
Yeah.
They're very generous of you.
Of course.
Right.
You love the covers, Euripides Bacchae, the one you like to talk about, the moonshot, the Normandy landing. So much great stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, and we love to use their translations on air. We've used Stanley Lombardo's translation of the Aeneid, of the Metamorphoses,
The Iliad,
yeah.
the Odyssey.
Yeah, fantastic.
He's got a new
stuff.
one on Apollonius of Rhodes.
That's right.
The Argonautica. Great stuff. So, Jeff, if the listener's thinking, all right already, okay, I've listened to 186 episodes now. I know that Hackett is the way to go.
Yeah.
What should they do?
They should go to hackettpublishing.com. That's HACKETT publishing.com. Check out their catalog, scroll through it, find the books you want, click on them, drop them into the little grocery cart, and if you use this coupon code, AN2025, that will get you two wonderful things. Dave, what are they?
It will get them free shipping, but also they're going to have to pay double for everything they buy.
The free shipping is right.
Okay.
The second part, no.
So I get an F on this? 50%?
Well, I'll give you a C minus.
All right.
But yes, free shipping, but 20% off your entire order.
Are there any river-based emporia and warehouses that give such a huge discount?
Of course not.
Okay.
Exactly. This is the way to go. Check it out.
This episode of Adnavserinos is also brought to you by the great folks at Racial Coffee, that wonderful American entrepreneur, Mr. Mark Helweg. Started out in Portland, Oregon. That's where the product is still made. I think he migrated down to the hill country of Texas, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's where he finds himself now.
Okay.
He asked himself an important question many years ago. Why has the American coffee machine not developed like other appliances? Why are people still buying, Dak and Blecker and Senior Coffee or Monsieur Coffee, Durex and so forth?
Yeah.
So he came up with a ratio 8, the ratio 6, and now...
the ratio 4.
That's correct.
Yes.
So, Jeff, I got a little story to tell you.
Please.
About this, actually. So, some time ago, I was trying to get my dog interested in drinking coffee.
Really?
The strange thing about this is I don't even have a dog.
That's both. Yeah. I mean, both that and that you would want to get your imaginary dog to drink coffee.
That's correct.
Yes.
Who doesn't want their imaginary dog slurping coffee? Well, this was before I had the ratio 8.
Okay.
And so I made up a pot for my mutt, and I poured it into his little doggy bowl, and I tried to get him to drink it, and he took to it.
Yeah.
He took to it, and every day he would drink this coffee.
Yeah.
And he seemed to really enjoy it, right? His eyes would light up from that little caffeine rush.
Yeah.
We'd sit around and talk philosophy like they do in the cafes of Europe.
Yes.
But there was a definite negative consequence.
What happened?
Well, the coffee was of such poor quality.
Oh, no.
That it would tend to build up on his orthodontics.
Yes.
And it would get really kind of impossible even for his doggy dentist to remove.
That sounds terrible.
It's awful.
Yeah.
And finally, when we switched to the ratio, we solved the long-term problem of
Yes.
plaquish fang.
I did not.
Did you not see that
I
coming?
didn't see where it was going.
Plaquish fang.
Bang. Yes.
Okay.
Got
Stupid. Jeff,
Yes.
what if they want to buy one of these machines?
Yes, they should go to ratiocoffee.com and check it out. These are wonderful machines. You will notice that this is a bit of an investment. Right?
Yes.
This is not your senior cafe.
That's right.
Right, but these are things that are going to stay on your counter and beautify your home for a very, very long time.
You're still using your 6,
Of
right?
course, my 8.
Oh, you're onto the 8,
My
that's
8,
right.
and I've got the 4 in my office. I love it. But go to ratio.com, and if you're interested, you want one of you want a deal.
That's right.
Then Dave, how can they get some money off?
That's correct. So they need to go to ratiocoffee.com/adnauseum because we are an affiliate. And then they need to enter this coupon code, AN Ratio 2025, to get $20 off their entire order.
Check it out. This episode also features a newer sponsor of ours. This is for Della Chelka, a wonderful artist. And we read here, ready for art that truly speaks to your story? Meet Della, a Tucson-based oil painter who captures the people, places, and moments you cherish with breathtaking detail. She showcased her works in multiple galleries, illustrated books, and is often commissioned for standout projects. See her current works for sale at her website, dellachelpka.art. That's DELLACHELPKA.art.
Yes, thank you, Jeff. To find your inspiration, visit that website and use the coupon code Apelles.
Apelles?
Yeah, he's the most famous painter of antiquity.
Oh, of course. Right. How do you spell that name?
I spell it Apelles. Apelles. He's featured in a Moss story that we can talk about later.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you use Apelles at the website, you will receive your ad nauseum discount of
10% off.
Wow. Check that out. Okay, Jeff,
Yes.
we get back into the episode now. We move from Mastronarde
Yes.
to Athenaze.
Yes. Well, let me just take the same approach I
Sure.
did with Mastronarde. So I'm looking at the table of contents,
Okay.
the TOC,
Right.
and I'm seeing there are 16 units for the student to get through.
All right.
And so just, again, at a glance and thinking as a teacher, I like that better than Mastronarde. So there I'm thinking, okay, if I'm doing this over the course of 2 semesters or 1 semester, it's basically 1 unit a week or 1 unit every 2 weeks. Already that's easier to work with.
There seems to be some cheating, though.
Well, how so?
Well, if I look at the units, some of them are doubled, aren't they? You've got alpha and beta,
Yeah,
right? In fact, all of them are doubled.
are doubled.
Hadidas, what is it? Dicaiopoulos, alpha and beta.
Yeah.
Hazanthios, Aratos, alpha and beta.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
So I mean, I would say if you're looking at this text for over the course of 2 semesters,
Right.
That works well.
Right.
You're doing kind of one kind of subset every week.
Okay. So we talk about the title, Athenaze,
Yes.
right? This
To
means
Athens.
to Athens because it's got that zeta epsilon suffix that means to a place.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it's one of those forms that you might put in a
Yeah.
footnote or appendix.
Well, I think, totally. I think it should be prominently featured in the reading.
yeah.
But in terms of how you teach it to the student, I just say, hey, this is what it is. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Because you don't actually have to master that idea
Right.
until quite late in your acquisition of Greek.
Right. Yeah.
So should we look at the introduction here?
Sure. Like the
paragraph,
They're looking
right.
at, about this course.
About this course. Yeah, you want to read the first paragraph
Sure.
there? I think it's quite helpful.
Right. So I'm reading from the 3rd edition. The aim of Athenaze is to teach you to read ancient Greek as quickly, thoroughly, and enjoyably as possible, and to do so within the context of ancient Greek culture. This means within the context of the daily life of the ancient Greeks as it was shaped, given meaning by historical developments, political events, and the life of the mind as revealed in mythology, religion, philosophy, literature, and art. The stories that you will read in Greek provide the basic cultural context within which you will learn the Greek language. And most of the chapters contain essays in English with illustrations drawn from ancient works of art and with background information to deepen your understanding of some aspects of the history and culture of the Greeks.
A very noble aim.
It is. And already that last bit, I think, sets it apart from the Mastronarde text.
Yes.
This is it's a very attractive book.
It's
lots of
intended
color
to be approachable.
plates. It's a larger text. It looks kind of
Right.
like at a glance could be a coffee table book.
I was going to say it comes with some built-in little legs so that you can set it down and set your coffee on top of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Now, I did teach from this book once.
Okay, and how was that experience?
It was-
Where was that? Was that Grand Valley?
No, it was. Yes, actually, it was at Grand Valley.
Okay.
And I had it approved for an independent study,
Mm.
and I worked with it. And I remember that the student that I worked with was a very good student, and he really liked it.
Oh.
And what he liked about it was that the edition that we're using has this continual story.
Yeah.
You kind of follow it through.
There's a thread.
There's a thread. It's not drawn from a particular
Right.
ancient author.
Right.
But you have this farmer Dicaiopoulos who
Yeah.
encounters various historical figures along the way.
Right.
He really liked the continuity of it. I found it a little cheesy.
Really?
Yes.
You'd rather have made up sentences of the kind that we saw in Mastronarde?
Well, I mean, to get going, yeah, I think that's
the
fine. but
unholy ones picked up stones from the small river and
chucked them at the
chucked them at the
at the
Tahiran.
shrine. I think that's fine to get going, but I thought as long as the text can kind of get you reading,
Right.
even if it's heavily edited,
Right. Why not go on?
Yeah, right.
To Xenophon himself or something?
Exactly right.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was fine. I thought I remember the student did very well, and I thought that the book was fine. And we at the end of the semester, I thought that he learned what
Right.
he had set out to do and what the book wanted him to do.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
Because I have not worked with the Latin lingua per se illustrata.
That's right.
Now, does that also have kind of you're kind of following a story?
Absolutely.
Right. And
it's
so,
quite an interesting story, I would say. Some people find occasional chapters that are snoozers, where
Yeah.
they're talking about numbers and so forth.
right.
Numerari difficiles. But I find it's a fairly compelling story.
Okay.
And when we went through it in what's the best Latin textbook, parts 1 and 2, the story's compelling. The Latinity is superb.
Okay.
So every one of these textbooks, whether Greek or Latin, that try to invent stories, I'm not against it. Right?
Yeah.
In fact, that's what Moss does. The question is how successful was the invention in terms of the quality of the composition,
Yeah.
and can it be tied to something that would have made sense to or had some resonance with an ancient audience.
Right.
And you're saying that this guy Dicaiopoulos, it kind of does that.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. He becomes your guide.
Yeah,
By which you encounter these
Chukapampas.
various pieces of culture and history.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I read at the end of the introduction before we look at some specifics of chapters?
Please.
They say, finally, at the end of almost every chapter, and sometimes in the middle of a chapter, you will find passages from a wide variety of classical Greek authors and from the Gospels of Luke and John in the New Testament. These have been carefully chosen and are accompanied by glosses that will allow you to read the passages at the points in the course where they are located. For those who don't know, Jeff, what's a gloss?
Something that or something that's kind of overly helpful.
Okay.
That kind of typically creates a bridge there for
That's
you
right.
without having to kind of know all the specific details of the language.
Excellent. They say, we have also included sayings of the 7 wise men of archaic Greece at various points throughout Book 1. You will thus be reading authentic Greek from the very beginning of the course.
Yes.
And gaining access to the wisdom and the style of writing and thinking of the ancient Greeks and of the writers of the Gospels.
So this is great. This is just what I was talking
Exactly.
about. So I think I worked with edition 1.
Right.
When I had that student, and I wonder if in these later editions they've kind of added that. So kind of combining that thread of the story, but also getting you to read versions from ancient authors.
Yeah, some real stuff.
Yep.
So let's skip ahead and sample from, I would say, chapter 6, Ha Muthos, the story, the legend, Ha Muthos, part alpha. So the chapter starts out, this is page 72, with an alphabetical list of vocabulary. Apakteno, I kill, afekneomai, I arrive, basilewo, I read, I rule, and so forth. And then what do we get on page 73?
Well, we get the a section of that story.
Right.
Kind of jumps to the. I think that every chapter begins with just the next. Plot point.
All right. So it's Hominos oike ente Crete. Minos lives in Crete. Basileus de estites nesu. He's the king of the island. So forth. How do you like the way it's set out on the page, Jeff?
I like it. I mean, I like the larger textbook. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older and it's harder for me to see things.
Oh.
I'm graduating to transition lenses.
Uh-oh.
But I like it comparing it to the more kind of crammed 0.0 spacing that I found in Mastronarde. Right. It's an easier book to read.
Do you like the larger print for the story, and then in a kind of apparatus criticus, there are the little smaller font explanations of some of the unfamiliar vocab, like ha labyrinthos, the labyrinth, therianti, a certain beast, etc.
Yeah, no, I do like that.
Okay.
I do. Yeah. I mean, how do you feel about that? Is that?
I think it's very good. It's something I have never taught from Athenaze. Mm-hmm. It's something very similar to what I do with Moss, which is, as we'll see in a moment, the text is just set out without any notes, but then in the whiteboard explanations I give, I explain all the grammar, but I tell the student, read it through, actually listen to my audio pronunciation first, then read it through, make a rough and ready translation the best you can without help, then go through it with my help, and then a final translation when you're done. So it's very similar.
So, but the order of doing those things is, in your opinion, essential.
Absolutely.
Yes.
If you're ever going to learn how to read Greek independently, you can't put at the beginning, memorize 10 vocabulary words, then try to sort them out in the context of a story.
Right.
It is so hard to remember what some of these words mean without context.
Yeah. Well, it seems like Athenaze encourages that approach.
Oh, yeah. It looks very similar.
Front loads it with these small
That's right.
narrative vignettes. And then after that, that's where you get your word study and your grammar.
That's right. So what do you think about the 6 items here in the word study?
We got, let's see, so identify the Greek stems in the English words below and give the meanings of the English words. So we get phobia, acrophobia, agoraphobia, entomophobia, triskaidekaphobia.
Oh, and triskaideka.
Triskaideka.
Yeah.
And anglophobia.
That's right. Are you afflicted by any of these phobias?
Let's see. What entomophobia is that fear of bugs?
Insects, yeah. Triskaidekaphobia, fear of the number 13.
Right. I'm a bit of an acrophobe.
Are you really?
I don't like heights. Not that crazy about heights. But how about yourself?
I'm fine with 13.
Yes.
I'm not really afraid of insects. Yes. I'm very fond of arachnids. I guess that would be arachnophilia.
Yeah, there we go. Right.
Anglophobia, fear of British people.
I mean,
or is that fear of the English language?
I have a little bit of a fear of British people.
I do too. I'm afraid they're going to break out some of their fancy breakfast with cold beans and dry toast.
Exactly, and force tea upon me.
No, thank you.
Right.
And then after that, after word study comes grammar. Mm-hmm. Verb forms, pleo, to sail. In the 2-syllable contract verb pleo, epsilon does not contract with omicron or omega. Thus, pleo is pleo, place, play, pleomen, plete, and pleusi. Mm-hmm. So this is interesting because pleo is a contract verb, but it doesn't contract in the first plural or the first singular. So it's kind of an exception. So I guess from a technical standpoint, I would question the wisdom of using this as an example of a contract verb.
Right.
Because it's an exception.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a very good point. Yeah, I would agree with that.
The explanation of voice, active, passive, middle, very good. I like to reverse the order and say active, middle, passive, because the acronym is AMP, right? So if you want the voice of your instrument to be good, if you want to have a good amp, you have to have active, middle, passive.
Yeah.
You see what I did there?
I see what you did there. That's excellent. Okay. Yes.
Should we survey one final chapter, or shall we move on?
Well, before we leave it behind, let me read one review.
Okay.
This was an Amazon review, and it's a 1-star review. And I don't read it just to be negative.
Yeah, sometimes those people can be cranks.
They can be cranks, right? And usually you'll find the most kind of effusion in the negative reviews.
You're right.
But I want to read it because by and large I really like Athenaze. Okay. I think it's a very good text, and so let's hear from the other side. This user writes, as I've helped my wife who is learning ancient Greek using Athenaze, I've been frustrated on every single occasion. There exist numerous reasons for this: unhelpful layout, peculiar and partitive order to grammar, as well as vocabulary shaped by the pedagogical narrative rather than the classical ones. That's
so
fair.
that is a legitimate criticism.
Yes.
But what is if I may interrupt, what is the individual's alternative? You have to jettison the pedagogical narrative.
Right.
Or introduce a lot of vocabulary that's completely unfamiliar.
Yes.
So it's a catch-22.
That's very true. He goes on, but the most infuriating and confusing aspect of this book is its frequent use of unknown, yet to be learned words into a text for translation and questions. Now, that to me is, I don't buy that.
I don't either.
I think that's... Like,
all of the words are unknown at the beginning of studying a language. So you're going to have to introduce unknown and yet to be learned words,
and that too can stretch the reader, right?
Of course.
You can, by looking at, well, I know this root, and so I can guess what this word means, right? So I don't think that's quite fair. The meaning of these words, he goes on, are provided by the authors in square brackets, but the user has no idea how the word will behave because they are still foreign. This might seem like pedantry. In fact, it most probably is. But if you're going to teach a language, then move people along at the same speed they're learning vocabulary. Simple.
Okay.
Right.
I would say to this individual, were I to encounter him, write your own textbook. Right. It's certainly possible to improve on what others have done, and it's a worthy undertaking.
Yeah.
Because even a good thing is going to have some flaws. I'm impressed with Athenaze. I would recommend it. You're going to come out the end of it probably having some gaps in your grammar knowledge, but the strengths are going to be much greater, I would say, than if you took Mastronarde or Hansen and Quinn.
Yeah.
At least for the average student who may not have the same capacity for, mass and brute memorization.
Yes. Yep.
It's just a big challenge.
All right, Dave. So as we get towards the end of this episode, we got to talk about Moss and the Moss method, because this is your thing.
This is my cup of tea.
This is your cup of tea.
My bailiwick.
And so I'm, let me play the role of someone who's kind of looking at lots of different Greek textbook and Greek courses, and then this one comes across my desk.
Yes.
My first question I would have for the person promoting this is, I look at the date.
Yep.
And this
1893.
This is a text that is 130-ish years old.
That's right.
You're telling me that there's nothing in those intervening years that's better than this? And I'm also thinking that
I am saying that.
Yes, okay. But I'm also thinking that any kind of English help or narrative along the way, this is going to read like Moby Dick.
No.
Okay. So tell me, why those are unfounded complaints.
All right. Yeah. So first of all, it's not a textbook.
Okay.
It is a first Greek reader.
Okay.
So it is a collection of 163 carefully graduated stories. That means that story number 1 is less difficult than story number 2 then 3, and so on. Mm-hmm. So that by the time you get late in the course, you're reading from Lucian. And you are reading from Plato and from Herodotus turned into Attic with almost no edits whatsoever.
Oh, wow.
But you start out with something that's extraordinarily simple.
Okay.
So Charles Melville Moss wrote this in 1893. And if I could just read a little bit from the introduction here, the preface, he says, "This little book is intended to be put into the hands of pupils as soon as they have learned the first declension." So this would be a noun, right? Like something like, hey, Sophia, wisdom. Hey, Sophia, tes, Sophias, tain, Sophia. Did I say tain? Whoops.
Tain. Yeah.
Dative. Te, Sophia, and tain, Sophion. Mm-hmm. They've learned the first declension, and they have learned the present indicative active of the verb. Oes a, say luo, lues, lue, luomen, luete, luusi. Mm-hmm. So a little arithmetic. How many forms is that? You've got 8 for the noun, right? 4 singular, 4 plural. You've got 6 for the verb. That's 14.
Yeah.
14 forms. That's it.
Yes.
So once you learn that, he says, you can launch into this reader. The stories, he says, are graded with this and the subsequent progress of the pupils through all the declensions and verb forms in view. But it is not a parsing book. It is intended to be a help toward a pleasant and rapid translation. Right.
So I'm assuming that there's not an accompanying grammar that comes.
There isn't.
So as far as learning those first forms,
that's
he's
right.
saying it's incumbent upon the teacher to give those to the student.
That's correct. Okay. And so that's what I supplement. Right?
Gotcha. Yep.
When I taught one of my children Greek, I didn't use Moss first with my eldest child.
Yeah.
Instead, I used something by Philpott called Easy Selections from Xenophon, which is also a 19th century text. I got it out of the Calvin Classics Library. It's also a graded reader, and it's not a grammar. So I just taught him to pronounce the language, and then I just supplied him with vocabulary as we went through it, so that it was, like Moss says, pleasant and rapid.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So this is a similar kind of thing, but it's even easier than the easy selections from Xenophon.
Yeah.
So when you get on to the first, if you look at the table of stories, Jeff, you'll see, maybe you could read some of those titles. This would be page 7 of the introductory material.
Right. So we start out with a troublesome boy. Philip hits 2 thieves with 1 decision. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Pennywise, pound foolish, honorable scars. And then further down, we start to see some kind of ancient names and peoples. The Parthians. Cyrus pays the penalty of rashness.
That's right.
Alexander's victory and offering. Okay, yeah.
The bed of Procrustes.
Oh, yeah, very good one.
A clear conscience, a famous saying of Pyrrho. Alcibiades trips Pericles, and a definition of law. So that's an adaptation from something of Socrates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, it's familiar stuff. It's a mix of Aesop's fables. It's a mix of things from Xenophon, things from Plato, things from Aristophanes, Lucian, as I've said, maybe a little Aristotle thrown in there.
Yeah.
So all of the grammar that you need is supplied in the explanations that I give. And if you look to hints for translating and construing, I think these are especially helpful. So he says, accustom yourself at the outset to run your eye over a sentence and group together those words whose endings and positions show that they agree. What do you think about rule number 2?
Let's see. Rule number 2. Do not think it necessary to know the meaning of every word before beginning to translate a Greek sentence into an English one, and least of all, to hunt up every word in the vocabulary in the order in which it stands in the sentence. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not how I learned Latin or Greek.
No.
Yeah.
This kind of reading intense sort of approach where the teacher is sort of holding your hand so you don't get stuck too long on any one grammatical problem.
Yeah.
You just kind of learn to take it in stride.
Right.
I think it's very much like learning a musical instrument or learning some athletic activity. You know, the end goal is so distant from the near goal that if you started out trying to reach the end goal, you know, from the start, you wouldn't make it. You'd give up.
Yes.
But you have to do kind of the basics at the beginning, get some strength in those things like scales. But you do it in a game-centered way.
Yeah.
So it's not just sort of a rote memorization.
That's really interesting. Do you happen to know when the book was first published, like what level, what age this was aimed at? Like who was using this book?
Yeah, well, this would be mostly for boys and girls in late grade school, early high school.
Okay.
But I have used it successfully with people really of all ages.
Yeah.
Maybe as young as, I don't know, my own kids, ages 7, 8, 9.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got some senior citizens actually at present all over the world studying from this book. Because the study of a language, frankly, is timeless. You don't have to have a lot of education to learn a language. I mean, this is definitely demonstrated by the fact that children, right? Infants learn a language.
Right.
So the goal of the approach is to try as much as possible to imitate that natural acquisition of a language.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's not going to be a complete imitation because you can't really immerse them in it.
Yes.
In the way that an Athenian child would have learned Greek, but you aim at that as the goal.
Yes. All right. Well, let's look at a specific story. This is the 50th story. So this is kind of, they're well into the text by now.
This would be in module 2,
right?
Because the first module ends at number 40.
Yeah.
The second one from 41 to 80.
Yeah. And I'm also noticing that the readings don't necessarily get longer.
No, they don't.
So this 50th reading here is a little over 4 lines.
Yeah, it's rather short. Right. This is another excellent aspect of the book, is that it doesn't, as so many people do, it doesn't equate length with complexity.
Yes, yeah.
My favorite example is, what's more complicated, one page of Shakespeare or the entire Dr. Seuss corpus?
Right. Yeah.
So clearly there's no necessary relationship between length and difficulty.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
One sentence of Tacitus is going to be much harder than anything you read in Livy.
Indeed.
It's just how it is.
So this little story is called Apelles and the Foolish Painter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So zographos tis athleos, ikonograpsas, apelle edex en autein legon, dautein tene kona en mia hemerdre egrapsa. So a certain competitive, that's athleos, a certain competitive painter, when he had painted a picture, he showed it to Apelles, saying, I painted this picture in one day. Oh, sounds pretty great.
Yes. But there's the rug pulling out coming.
Here it comes. Hada Apelles edonautein efe, thamadza hati upolas toiautas ekonos en hemerdre egrapsas. But Apelles, when he saw it, said, I am shocked that you did not paint many such images in one day.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's a zinger, isn't it?
It is a zinger, yeah.
It's so bad.
You could crank these
crank
things
them
out. Right. Yeah.
So what I love about Moss is not only that the difficulty is graduated, it doesn't drop you into the deep end all at once.
Yeah.
But it definitely does get a little bit harder as things go on. Mm-hmm. But he also has a great sense of humor.
It's very entertaining.
The stories are riveting.
That's fantastic.
Most of them, like you pointed out, are episodic. So when you go from 50 to 51, 51 is the fowler and the partridge, right? 52 is what? Make a Puritan laugh in mixed company. But then there are also stories that are connected. So 53 and 54 is drink steals away men's brains, and 54 is a practical joke replaces them. So you've got both continuity, but also kind of the one-offs.
Interesting.
Which provide variety.
Yeah. And just looking at those ones are quite a bit longer than the Apelles.
Sure.
They're about 10 to 15 lines of Greek. Yeah.
You go down to number 57, the frogs ask Zeus for a king.
Ooh,
everybody recognizes that from Aesop. Right?
Yeah.
And I love it, too, because it's not a 19th century book in the sense that it has things that 21st century people would find offensive,
right,
in terms of gender or race, I don't think.
Right.
But it also doesn't spare sensibilities.
Yes.
So at the end of 57, Zeus sends them a snake that eats all the frogs. So it's it's a little abrupt.
Right.
It's got that old-fashioned kind of, I would say, Greek sentiment that, hey, this is how the world is.
Yeah,
so.
and I think it also clearly kind of undercuts assumptions that I think most people would make about a 19th century tome about anything.
You're right.
Right. It's very pithy. It's to the point.
That's right.
It's concise. I love it. Yeah.
So that's Moss. Now, Jeff, we had some other things on the roster here that we might have talked about. Shall we tease the audience with those a little bit in terms of Greek instruction?
Yes. What about this list of the 151 most common words?
Yeah.
Right?
So if you go to the Dickinson College Vocabulary Generator, this is a wonderful online tool. You can ask it to make up word lists for you based on virtually any author. So I asked it to produce the 150 most common Greek verbs in 6 principal parts, and then I generated this for my students, and I said, hey, if you're going to learn Attic vocabulary, try to master the first 10.
Yeah.
Because that's no small accomplishment.
Right.
If you have the 10 most common Greek verbs at your fingertips, right? You're well on your way to being able to read virtually any author.
Yes.
So that's a wonderful resource.
Yes. Excellent. And then what was the other one that we were going to?
Yeah. Well, it's this collection of the first 1,000 Greek words. I'm not sure who put this together, but it's a high frequency word list, and I'm a great fan of those. So those who want to do brute memorization, and I'm one of those that enjoys that.
Yeah.
Why don't you learn the 1,000 most common Greek words rather than going for something obscure?
Right. Exactly.
Master the basics first.
Makes sense.
And then finally, we have this resource that we've mentioned frequently. The classicist and computer scientist Anne Mahoney wrote an article called The Forms You Most Need to Know. And I'd like to devote an entire episode or part of an episode to that at some point.
Yeah.
Because it makes just some incredible claims. For example, in Greek, almost 75% of all verbs have the tense of either present or aorist.
Wow. Oh.
So while you want to learn the pluperfect and the future, 3/4 of all verbs are either present or aorist.
That's
so
incredible.
Where should you put your time?
That's where your intention should be.
In terms of triage,
Indeed.
right?
Yes.
But that's for another episode.
Yeah.
Because we have to get out of here.
We got to get out of here, Dave. Yeah. So
why exactly?
What is there somebody at the door? You got?
I think there's another Racco tournament that came into town.
Oh man, these people.
Can't they go to Van Andel Arena or the DeVos Hall or something?
Why do they always have to use the vomitorium for this?
I don't know.
Right, and they're rude.
It's a pushy bunch.
Very pushy, and I frankly had it with them. But I want to get out of here so I can avoid them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But before we get out of here,
we have to thank some folks, don't we?
Yes. Who should we thank there?
Well, we need to thank Mishka, first of all, our wonderful sound engineer.
Indeed.
Who takes this rough, I would say almost slipshod kind of initial effort.
Right.
And shods it. Right?
Lots of shotting going on.
That's right.
Yes. Yep. And also big thanks to the wonderful musicians you hear, Ken Tamplin, and who's this newer guy that
we've been using it for a few months. My friend Jeff Sheets, Kansas City guitarist.
Yes.
Disc dogger extraordinaire.
Indeed. Yes.
Throws around those discs and his dogs catch them with all kinds of acrobatic ease.
Yes. Yep.
Wins international competition. Guy's a fly fisherman, but
man, does it all.
He can also really play the guitar, don't you think?
Yeah, I love it. Yep.
Giving us that wonderful song, Thrill Seeker. What is the thrill, Jeff?
The thrill is taking in the classics and keeping them down.
Okay.
Right?
So thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your wonderful music with us.
Yeah. Hey, if you want to support the podcast, you go to adnavserinos.com. Don't forget the V in there. Check out our Lurch with Merch section. You can pick yourself up a sticker, a T-shirt, a hat, and show the world that you are taking in the classes and keeping them down.
You want to contact Jeff? You want to complain, express some sympathy that he has to put up with me every week? Email him, jeff@adnavserinos.com. Do not forget the V.
Right. And if you want to write to Dave, that's dave@adnavserinos.com. Don't forget that V.
We'd love to give you a shout out. We'd love to interact with you and your thought on the air a little bit. Maybe you have an idea for a gag, a bit.
We'd love that.
Something
because
that rivals us in absurdity and stupidity. Might be difficult.
It might be, right? But it's getting dry.
Is it?
We need
scraping the bottom of the barrel.
We'd love to get some ideas.
All right.
Outside. Next show, Dave, I believe we are going to tackle
part one
of this book, How the Greeks Built Their Cities.
How the Greeks Built Cities.
Yes.
Too bad we already used that wonderful Starship song as the title of a previous episode.
That's right.
What are we going to do now?
It's like it handed it to us and we can't accept it.
What are we going to do now?
Man.
That's episode 188. Be sure to tune in. Jeff, I think you have the GPS.
I do have the GPS.
The gustatory.
Parting shot, yes. And this comes from one Stephen McGee, who writes, eating a big bowl of ice cream for breakfast is every kid's dream.
Was that your dream, Jeff?
I'm down with this.
I went for the Neapolitan.
Oh, yeah, for breakfast.
Yeah, all the flavors together.
Excellent.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.